see what you got there. A cup of tea, Yorkshire tea, is it?
Mate, I'm on coffee.
Are you?
I'm fueled by coffee these days, mate. That's all I
You?
do. Yeah. I do you know it became like a bit of a, like obviously in rugby and rugby league, rugby union, there used to be a drinking culture.
Yeah, yeah.
And that is like yesterday, as in like the olden days when
Yeah.
team reviews and meetings were basically got on the piss. And I like genuinely, I know from hearing about lads
Yeah.
in the past and old coaches at the team that I was at as well. And that was one of the things they did, review. And it was go down to the pub, you had to have 4 pints, do review by watching the video, and that were it. And then off you go, get yourselves home. But a drinking culture has changed as it became a little bit more professional. Mobile phones came out as well, so most of the lads started drinking coffee, and I've carried it on. And I work with sponsors and hospitality now, so my day is essentially having meetings and drinking shed loads of coffee. And if I don't drink coffee now, I get shakes. I get like anxiety, like paranoia, like people are watching me and stuff like that. So yeah, I've got to keep topping up on coffee. So I'll be doing that throughout. I hope you don't mind.
No, that's all right. How do you sleep at night then?
What's that?
How do you sleep at night if you're drinking so much coffee?
I'm immune. It doesn't matter. I sleep like a baby. Even if I have a coffee at 9 or 10 o'clock at night, it makes no difference to me. That's like a myth. One coffee will make no difference to me whatsoever because I drink far too much of it. It is my vice. It's I suppose I should cut down at times, and it's difficult though, when I've had 3 coffees like first thing in the morning, then I go to a meeting, they're like, "What do you want?" Yeah, coffee.
Thing is, what else are you gonna have? Water or tea?
Exactly. Yeah, it's I don't mind a tea. Yorkshire tea, obviously. But no, I'm all over the coffee, mate. In fact, from my house, I live on the hills, so quite high up, basically near the moors, above Slathwaite, which is a beautiful village in West Yorkshire. Yeah. And I look down over there's a factory in the distance. It's called Dark Woods. Now, Dark Woods coffee is unbelievable. If there's anyone watching, order yourself some Dark Woods coffee. It is absolutely fantastic. You see it in all cafes, and they're international now as well. So I look down on them, and I go down and visit. And also next door they've got a brewery, so I visit that as well.
I'm gonna write that down now. Dark Woods coffee.
Dark Woods coffee, yeah.
Class. I love it. I've only ever been up that neck of the woods once or twice. I played, so the team I played for, you get like obviously Super League Championship, then National 1. There was a South Wales team called the Scorpions.
Yeah.
And then they were West Wales Raiders. And then there was a National 3 team, and I played for them. And they fed into the 1 who fed into, I think, to Wigan, I think.
Okay, yeah.
So I played like the Challenge Cup and that in like round 1 and round 2 and stuff.
Yeah.
And we went up to Kipax once, right? I don't know how. Is that right? Is it Ryan? Oh, Alton as well.
Yeah.
So Alton was Ryan Hall's old club.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, yeah.
And I know, so we were all rugby union players, really, playing league, but we won National 3 the one year. Like, we were decent for a ragtag bunch of amateurs, right?
Yeah.
We went up to Alton, and when they went, we got 5 senior teams, right? I just thought, fuck, we're in trouble.
Yeah.
And then Kipax away, where that's Leeds somewhere, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah, I don't know it that well. I never played against them myself, but I know of them.
Just mutants. Like, what is it about these northern guys? They heads like this, bodies they're just massive, and you hit them as hard as you can, and they're just like, "Is that all you got, lads?" And I'm like, "Oh, fuck,
yeah,
I'm in trouble today."
Yeah, you tend to find with rugby league players as well, especially around this area. They tend to be all like brickies and joiners, and they're all tradesmen. A lot of them, and they all work hard, graft hard during the week, and at the weekend they want to rip people's heads off. It's just what they do, isn't it? It's like get rid of that pent up aggression, the proper like hard lads. And it's quite funny because you do see them, and some great teams around this area. Halifax, Siddle is probably one of the standout teams because they've got so much strength in depth, and they always seem to do pretty well. I'm from a little place called Underbank Rangers. And that's in Home Firth. So, from that side, and it's really high up. It's, again, it's on the hills, and the pitch is a massive slope as well. It's not the sort of place it's not a friendly place to go to, especially in winter. It is goddamn awful.
I can't remember if we played against them, because I always remember them in like round 1 or round 2.
That's correct, yeah. The summer team, yeah.
Yeah, and there was a Sheffield team because it was Sheffield we beat in like the final national. Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember now, mate. But yeah, like I used to hate. But the thing is, they used to hate coming down here because the team I played for. I live in Cardiff, which is big metropolitan city, but the team I played for was up in the valley, and so like a bus trying to get up there, and then the pitch, all the village would come out, just fucking shout abuse at them. It was horrible. Like they didn't want to come down here, but then we didn't want to go up there either.
Yeah.
But I loved it. Like I wish I picked up. I didn't pick up rugby league till I was about, I'd say 24, 25. Like I played union, I played football, and then I played union until I finished uni. And then after, it was only a couple of years then in the summer, I was like, too fat for sevens. So started playing rugby league, played loose, and I fucking loved it. Like just involved all, because I played 12 in union. It was perfect.
Yeah.
I loved it. Like I wish I picked it up earlier because fucking good crack and just good blokes as well. Like
salt of the earth. I do. I come from a rugby union background as well, so I played both.
Okay.
So I played for Huddersfield YMCA. I played for Yorkshire county level. Selected at 15, 16s. I got selected at 18s to go to South Africa, and they're putting a good team together. So I played number 8. I played number 4, and then number 8. So I loved it. I absolutely loved every part of it. But at the same time, I was playing rugby league, and I actually didn't get into the Yorkshire team. I got not binned off. I got subbed against Lancashire. That is the game as a Yorkshire player. Yeah. You want to play Lancashire. That is the rivalry right there. The White Rose, the Red Rose, and obviously being a White Rose, I wanted to rip into them. And I don't mind saying I was probably one of the standout players in that squad. I was a big boy, playing really well, scoring tries. And they basically benched me because they found out I was playing rugby league as well at the same time. It's not even professional. It's an amateur bloody sport. They told me I couldn't play. I had to play one or the other. And because I was playing both, it was actually frowned upon. I'm like, who the hell do you think you are? I mean, it's pathetic. It's amateur rugby union. Like, don't be such a set of dicks. And that was my first sort of introduction into politics within sport. And it was absolute bollocks. So anyway, I did it. I ended up being benched. And then I came on later on in the game, and I remember it quite well. And I played really well. As soon as I got on, I started, ripping into people. Really enjoyed it. And unfortunately, we lost by a couple of points. And their captain stood up after, and I remember it really well, saying basically goes, "We're glad he didn't come on any earlier because we would have been in trouble." And it was just a bit of a to coaches. And but that was my first introduction to that sort of stuff. And being a 15-year-old, 16-year-old lad, what the hell's this all about? That's what happens when you get people in these different sort of groups. And then we had Yorkshire schools and we had Yorkshire clubs, and you couldn't get into Yorkshire schools unless you were in a private school. I wasn't. So I could never progress further than Yorkshire clubs, even though we'd bashed the Yorkshire schools lads all over the place. But it was just the way it was, and I don't know if things have changed. I hope they have. But then an opportunity came up in rugby league for me. I had no choice but to take it. But it could have been a different avenue that I went down quite easily.
Absolutely. I think like now, especially here, like I'm not so sure about back home in England now, but definitely here in Wales, it's all about the academies, and you get certain schools which are academy feeders into not just the region, so the Cardiff Blues or whatever, but the Premiership teams that sit underneath it as well. So they're semi-pro. So it's all like feeded into like Blues Academy and all that stuff. So it's probably not so much play with your mates on a Saturday and grow up in that club environment. It's probably a bit more professional than that, but at least the avenues and the pathways are there now.
It's the same in our spot as in rugby league. It's the same. We deal with a school. So one of our sponsors, the Huddersfield Giants sponsors that I got on board, called Rishworth School, a very well-established school within Halifax sort of area. Very, very nice school, and they do boarding and everything. And they have a pathway naturally for rugby union players more so. And George Ford sort of comes from there as well. And he was at the Rishworth dinner only a few weeks back speaking about that. And they have a really good pedigree of players that come through. But they've created that themselves, which is really nice. But they have really good links with rugby clubs. And it's something we're trying to develop now to be a bit more professional, is developing a rugby league link with that school as well, a more established one where they work in conjunction with each other, because Rishworth, essentially need more players as well. So these players will go on, but they need scholarship lads to come in and actually perform, and they can go either to rugby union or rugby league, but they've got the opportunity, and it's creating those opportunities, which is probably been difficult in the past because people just get missed, you know, like young lads, they need to develop, and sometimes it takes a long time to develop, and they get overlooked and they just get lost out the system, and you never see them again.
Yeah, and I think there's maybe not so much now, but there was definitely an emphasis over the last however many years of size over skill. Like if we can get big, huge athletes, we can train them to be better players. And actually, sometimes you can't train some of these players, the things that they can do on a pitch. You don't train that. You just like harness it as best you can, but they just go and do what they do. And then there's an argument for the other side as well then.
Yeah, I mean, structure is something that is huge within both codes, and they are very strict on. I know I got to the back end of my career, and it was basically I had to get to a blade of grass, and if I didn't get to that blade of grass, I got a roller in the meetings the next week. It don't matter how well I played. Oh no, you deviated. You was a yard past that line, and looking at coach going, "What the fuck is that all about? Seriously, what are you on about?" But that's how you're scrutinised. And that sort of changes the whole dynamics of the game. It becomes less about an individual's talent, more about understanding the systems in place. But what I will say is, for me, what's massive is motor skills, especially for young kids. Between the ages of 0 and 5, it's absolutely paramount that you teach kids all different sort of hand-eye coordinated skills in sports. So some of the best lads I've coached have been the best footballers and best golfers. Because they've got natural eye for it. It's that hand-eye coordination, the balance and self-esteem and everything. You know, they've got to have that air of arrogance about them as well, to believe in themselves. That's huge, I think, especially in younger lads.
Yeah.
But I think too many times, I think in the past, we say this as lads coming to the training group for the first time, you'll always be told by your parents to shut up. Not when you come here. This is where you've got to speak. Because you all need to be on the same wavelength as each other and on the same page. So to try and get kids to open up a little bit is the difficult part as well. But like you say, it's not about the size. It's probably a little bit more about understanding the game, which is huge now.
Yeah.
And then the developmental side of things where they're just a little bit better sports people overall.
Yeah, absolutely. My family all live in New Zealand. They moved out January 2006. And so my brother played football for Plymouth Argyle Academy, played rugby to a very decent level, like schools, county level and whatever. Went out there and all the boys are playing netball. And he's like, you know, he's a city boy, like not a chav, like, you know, I ain't fucking playing netball, mate. Like you can go and do one. But all the boys were playing netball with the girls. And then he was like, it's no wonder they are so good, because it doesn't matter what they're doing. They are catching and passing, whether it's rugby league, netball, whatever it is. It's all like evasive. Find the space, get away from the player, blah, blah, blah. So like, I can see how it's done. And like, I think it's going back the other way now, where especially in like rugby league is almost like you do get people who aren't like that, but everyone's almost the same shape. You know, you do get anomalies, but like you've played prop, second row, back row, center because you're athletic, whereas rugby union I felt was getting like that, but now it's just starting to come back around. And actually, you look at, I don't know if you watch much union, but someone like Anton Dupont would be like your Luluai in rugby league.
Yeah,
you can't, like, they're invaluable.
Yeah,
it's not like Rob Burrow, you know, I know he's going through what he's going through now, but people like that, you still need them in the game. Absolutely, like.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And the game has changed. It's actually quite funny how the dynamics, again, the demographic changes all the time, but the shape of the game does. And I've seen it in rugby union as well, because I've watched rugby union for a very long time. My dad was always a huge fan, and one of my dreams was to play for the Barbars. That's what I wanted to do. Like, genuinely, as a young kid growing up, I wanted to play for the Barbars. That was all I ever wanted to do.
Do you ever get close?
No, well, I just went into rugby league, didn't I? So I had an opportunity, was speaking to a few rugby union clubs, including Newcastle a long time ago, and there was people hanging around. But I ended up just staying at Huddersfield, and I don't regret it for an instant. And these other things I could have done, these other rugby league teams I could have gone to as well. Because St. Helens came in, I signed for them, but it fell through.
Yeah.
Which was a good time. But I'm a bit of a home bird, me. I love where I live. I love where I'm from. I'm very passionate about this place. It's in Huddersfield, and it's not got much sex appeal. I won't lie to you. The centre of Huddersfield is not the nicest, and they are doing a lot to it.
Yeah.
It's outside of Huddersfield, it's in the villages, the community feel, all little cafes and canals and all that, those country walks. It's absolutely stunning. And that is what I love about Huddersfield. So I never ever did anything like that. But the shape of players totally changed. So I was always like, I'm pretty much the biggest player. There was a couple of other lads. Johnny Gratian played for the Giants. He was 6'6", same as me. And Wayne McDonald, who played at Leeds, played at Huddersfield, 6'7", biggest bloke I've ever met as in a rugby player, as in a rugby league player. So he was huge, big, strong bloke.
Yeah.
But you get much higher than that, a bit taller. They lose that sort of mobility in the middle of the field where you've got a Rob Burrow attacking you and he's going through your legs and he's ducking at the line. And what happens is you're going down on the floor, you back up, you're down on the floor, back up. It takes it out of you, it takes it out of your engine. So me being a prop at 6'6" for the latter end of my career, we've got another player now called Luke Yates that plays for the Giants. If he's 6 foot tall, I'll be shocked. He's around maybe just under 6 foot. Maybe I'm discrediting him here. But what he does to, mate, is he will run through a brick wall and he'll do it 20, 30 times a game, 30 carries a game. Honestly, it's ridiculous. He'll make 60 tackles a game. He's a freak, an absolute freak. The game has changed. But your wingers, they're all like 6'4". It's gone the other way now. Instead of going that way to your wingers, it's going the other way.
Rangy, rangy sort of athletic shapes, big, long strides, a hard attack.
We got two of the senior twins for the Huddersfield. They're both probably 6'5". And once they get going, they open that big gate of there. They are gone. Nobody's catching them. It's just, it's good night. It's see you later. But then you've got the other side of that, Jermaine McGilvery, another Huddersfield Great Britain player as well, a local lad. He's the toughest person to just tackle, and I think any Super League player probably say that. He just wants to wrestle you. He's so strong, really quick, but he's a little bit smaller, and he's got a different dynamic to him where he punches. He's a yardage player, so he gets you off the line. And I think I've seen with Rugby Union over time. So I'd like to say, look, I'm fortunately I'm off to London next week, and to Jason Robinson. I know Jason Robinson fairly well from Huddersfield as well, Fixby lad. He's got a testimonial event with a couple of us, and Victor Abugu is one of the hosts and magnifiers there as well. And I remember watching Victor when he was playing for England. They play computer games when he's on there, and he just is big, but never known as being probably the most mobile as in getting around as such and speed, but big, strong, fit bloke. They just seem to be changing a little bit again. And the scrums in Rugby Union, talk about Rugby League scrums being bloody awful, and they're pathetic. We go there for a rest, mate. I'm telling you, I used to go to the scrum and I'll be talking to Andy Lynch and other lads in Australia now retired. And I'd be, how you doing, pal? You all right? Yeah, not bad, mate. Bloody hell, it's hot, innit? And that's what we talk about. You put your head in, see about you crack on again. You try to rip into each other. Whereas obviously with Rugby Union, standing back here and boom, oh God, awful. And I've seen the training, I've been around that training when they're on scrum machines and stuff like that, and binding so much. And then over the years, that seems to touch, pause, engage, and you're almost touching distance before you're
just in.
Yeah, and then the ball going in, you may as well turn it into Rugby League, honestly.
Yeah.
Throwing it backwards, it ain't the same this. It's not like it used to be. But they changed, don't they? They developed the games, just keep changing. And Rugby League's done the same, and we'll go forwards and backwards in some ways. And Rugby Union is doing the exact same. I will say I've seen a lot more Rugby League structures in Rugby Union, attacking wise. The shape that they throw at the line with people out the back. I feel like it has changed for the better as well, because there's a lot of Rugby League influence now in Rugby Union.
Yeah, and I think in a lot of the defensive patterns as well, where square shoulders, you're paddling across rather than turning the shoulders, and stuff like that, because you can get done on the inside or the outside then, where if you're paddling, you're up square. And so I think a lot of it's kind of like, that's why I loved it. Like, take it to, +1, take it to the line behind. Like, I fucking loved it, mate. It was class. I think I I always had a bit of a, I've still got a drum on me now. Like I've always had a bit of a drum. So I never gave myself the best chance of being good at it. I was always decent, like at that level, but I was never fit enough to really fucking kick on or anything. But like the enjoyment of it, like it was class. So you take that back to union, like I did again, politics. Like I did a full season of rugby league. We won National 3. So I've played 18 games maybe in that season, and I'd start most games playing either 13 or 6 because we were short on standoffs. And so you're quite fit, like match fit. Do you know what I mean? I went back to the local club I was playing for at the time in Penarth, and the coaches aren't there anymore, so it doesn't matter. But they were like, "Oh, you've missed pre-season," and I'm like, "What do you mean missed pre-season, mate? I've been playing for the last 4 months non-stop against blokes fucking miles better than this. Like, let's get stuck into it then." So getting stuck into it, and it was like down, up, sprint, and like it was basically rugby league. And I was like, "Oh, I'm fucking in here." And they were like, "Oh, you're not starting the first 3 games until you." I'm like, "What the like politics in it?" Like, but whatever. Hey mate, we haven't even introduced you yet.
I know.
Got stuck into it. Like I've loved that's class. What a start. Let's get into it, mate. Episode 113, Catflap Chats. Quickly, just visit catflapchats.com. You can find the website, the merch, back catalogue, our amazing partners. At Catflap Chats on Instagram, Twitter, have a look. Eorl Crabtree, Huddersfield Giants legend, one club man. Don't see that nowadays anymore. I think we've had Gary Neville, Jamie Carragher, and that's about it. I think off the top of my head is one club men. Thank you for coming on, mate. What a start. What an introduction.
My pleasure, and thank you for inviting me along. It's always good to do stuff like this anyway, and a little bit different. And it's you know what, if I can hang around being on these sort of things, you get forgotten about. I'm a professional sportsman. I was 5 years ago. Yeah. I'm no longer a professional sportsman, so my sort of career has been right up there. And unfortunately, it's dwindling there. I'm on my way out, so I'll grab this while I still have the opportunity.
Sport's brutal, isn't it? Like I've never played professional sport, but like I was saying, you know, I get to see the insides of it quite a lot, and it is a conveyor belt at times. And if you are someone who doesn't quite get with a club for whatever reason, it doesn't quite work out either on field or off field, you are forgotten about, and you're always known then in a negative way. So I suppose you've got a bit of credit in the bank. You know, one club man. What was it a 423 games I've got written down here?
It's 428, not that I'm counting.
Is it? Oh, maybe,
it's Wikipedia, mate. They get it wrong.
So is it?
400. I've had it confirmed. 428 games for the Giants and
how many tries?
79.
I have got that written down. Yeah. 79 tries. Signed on your 17th, or no, you were 17 then? Was it on your birthday?
17th birthday, yeah. My dad was my agent. Worst decision of my life.
That's why you're still working now, isn't it?
That I have to do it, yeah. I ain't got enough to retire, that's for sure.
Mate, what is life like there? What's the last few years been like? Obviously, COVID, not playing, the transition from not playing into the business world and corporate hospitality, ambassador stuff. What is life like?
I'll be honest with you, and I'm one of the lucky ones, and I will say that because I've spoken to other players that have retired and really struggled mentally, probably physically as well. And I speak to them about, you know, what they're doing for a living now, and, you know, almost to the verge of tears when I've spoken to a couple of them. And I'm looking at them thinking, I can't tell you I'm really in a good place. I felt actually guilty that I was doing okay. And it's a sad state of affairs. I mean, they do get support, these players, as well, but it just made me think I'm glad I did what I did when I was younger to prepare myself. And I think that's huge for any sportsman, seriously. Just getting a pension, getting insurance, life insurance, anything like that, doing those little things that you never think about because you're invincible, because you're a rugby player or you're just a professional sportsman. You don't need to do these things. You do. And I bang on about it quite a lot. Getting wills in place, the really important things. So I'll tell you exactly how it sort of came about, as in my retirement. So we had an Australian coach coming called Rick Stone. He took over as Paul Anderson just left the club. He was not required anymore, and Rick Stone took over. So Baloo, as we called him, affectionately known as, he was brilliant for us, and he started just going a little bit sort of pear-shaped, losing games, and decided to sort of move on and bring somebody else in. Rick Stone came in, decent pedigree, Fijian coach, and he didn't change anything when he came in. He just tried to speed things up a little bit. So understand his thought process, get people fitter. Now, at this point in time, I was struggling with a couple of injuries. Bearing in mind, I played 400 games and a little bit old. I was picking up injuries, only little niggles. I've never had bad injuries. And I'd torn my groin. So I had to have a little operation on that. I got told at the time that I didn't need it. It just needed rehab. And then the first game of the season, it went just tore. So that meant an operation, a minimum 4 weeks out, so only a minimum. So I thought it was okay. So I got myself back, I got myself fit enough, in agony. 4 weeks later, played the game. Unfortunately, I put on a tiny bit more weight. I was struggling to get fit because I couldn't run, and I was just going game by game, just trying to get through, just to help the team out. Then I got told that basically I wasn't getting around the field quick enough. I was like, yeah, I know. I could tell you this, mate. I've just had an operation on my groin. There's a reason for it. And I started working a bit harder and I'm getting fitter. And we played a game against Batley, which was, I think it was maybe challenge, the bottom eight. And played in that game, scored a try. And I felt like I was just starting to get some form. Now, at this point in time, I'd had the birth of my son as well, and there was some medical issues when he was born. Not something I particularly want to go into, but he's absolutely fine. He's a great kid, and he's the best thing that's probably ever happened to me. But he had some little issues when he was born. And then my dad had a stroke pretty much off the back of it, severe one where I thought I'd lost him. And then I was going through the rugby side of things where I'm just picking up injuries. It's, it sounds like I'm looking for sympathy, but it's not the case at all. Things happen for a reason. And these things have only, been positive in light of what actually happened. So we played London the week after and I broke my ribs, typically. Gone into a tackle, gone down to the floor, nothing special about it. And I felt it just go. God, honestly, I felt like I'd been stabbed. I've never broke my ribs before. Absolutely awful. So I get up and I just think I've got to get my second wind here. I'll be all right. Just could not shake it. I go off the field and basically I'm not going to be back again for another 3 or 4 weeks. I might be able to get one more game in. Coach calls me into office and he goes, right, Earl. And he's only been there 6 months, not even that. And he goes, right, I don't see you in the salary cap for next year. And I had a year left on my contract. I intended on playing that year out and I would have pushed hard to earn another contract. I would have played as long as I possibly could physically because I wanted to get to 500 games. That was my goal. And he changed them plans instantly. And instead of, I didn't bitch about it, I didn't moan about it. I just went, right, fine, let's crack on. Because I am very much embrace the future, take the challenges as they come at you, and you just move on quick, adapt and just move on. And it's something I've picked up over the years because I can't be arsed with just bitching and moaning about these things happen, mate. You've got to crack on with it.
Surely though, right? Someone who's been there 6 months and someone who's been there at the time 16 years or
16 years,
right? Surely you could just drop a text into the CEO going, is this guy taking the piss? Like, I feel I deserve a little bit more, even if it's not a 2-year contract. I deserve to at least prove I can do a preseason and honor my contract, which you've already signed. Like, none of those conversations, or did you just go, no worries, pay me off, see you later?
No, well, I went back to the CEO, obviously, and didn't say you're taking the piss because obviously they're in communication. It's not just an off-the-cuff sort of notification you're done, mate. They'd obviously been in conversation. So I went back and said, look, what's the crack? And they gave me a few opportunities, a few options. And some of those options I was not happy about at all. I felt I deserved probably a little bit more respect. Didn't get that, but that's sport for you. That's, again, politics. It's the way that the world is. Well, it is what it is. And I had the opportunity to either get a payout, see you later, go on a year loan somewhere. I never played for anyone else. Why would I want to go on a loan for a year to a club that I don't want to be at? In fact, I did have an ask around. The Bradford Bulls came in for to have a little look at me.
Yeah.
And it was Tony Smith's brother, or was it Tony Smith's? So I don't know. It's one of the Smiths. I think good coach yet again. And said, yeah, we want to meet him though. We want to meet him and make sure he's got the right frame of mind, like the right desire he wants the best of the club and he's wanting to work hard. I thought, I can't be asked for that bollocks. As if I played for 17 years, over 400 games. If you don't think I've got the mentality to go out there and rip in, then I don't even want to be there because you're questioning it. And that says a lot about you as much as it does me.
Yeah.
So there was another couple of options. Either work in the backroom staff somewhere, they find a role for me for a year on the full payout.
Yeah.
And then after that, you're sort of done with. Or take a 3-year payout, so a reduced payout over 3 years added to a basic wage.
Yeah.
And I looked at things and I could have taken this X amount. It wasn't massive amounts of money.
Yeah.
Because I only had 1 year left anyway.
Yeah.
And basically they just said, look, you can get this and you have this for 3 years. We'll create a role for you. You can just be club ambassador. We don't know what that'll be. You're going to schools, you open bloody shops and bakeries or whatever you want to do.
Opening of an envelope.
So I went, all right, I'll do that. So
Yeah.
the 3 years, I took a 3-year payout. And there was other bits in there I wasn't happy with, but I can't go into too much detail because I still work for the Giants and I'm very proud and I feel honoured to work for them. I'm very lucky. And I took this 3-year payout. So they made me club ambassador off the back of that for 3 years. A first year, I struggled, not so much mentally leaving the game. I do not miss, and I'll say this now, I do not miss playing rugby league at all. No. Not at all.
But I bet, do you miss the changing rooms before and after and the people?
God, yes. Yeah. I miss being around all those lads every single day. The banter, the fights, the things we got away with then as well, and what we could say and do to each other, totally different to now. But I love that, and that's what I live for, being around these lads. And I'm still very close to some of the players, especially the ones that have been there a bit longer, such as Leroy Cudjoe, Michael Lawrence, and Jermaine McGilvray, 3 outstanding players that have been there. I've watched them come through, and I'm proud of that as well. So over time, I mean, Jason Robinson, again, one of those people, he rang me and said, "Oh, how are you doing?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm pretty good, actually." I was like, "All right, I didn't expect you to say that." And he said he was very similar, that he was comfortable. Yeah. I was comfortable that I'd left, although I was pretty bitter at how it was done. I never got a final send-off, not properly, which I was gutted about at the time. But what happened is I'm very lucky, and I've got to say this, I mean, I believe the harder you work, the luckier you get.
Yeah, absolutely.
But one of our sponsors, he wasn't a sponsor at the time, a mate of mine, he'd set up a construction company. And he was a big Giants fan. He just said, "Oh, I fancy your coffee. What are you up to? And can we help in any way?" And he goes, "I wouldn't mind doing some sponsorship." I said, "I'll go and find out what you can do, what options there are." Went to our commercial manager and he says, "Oh, yeah, we've got all these different options. Just ask him if he wants one of those." So he did, because I want to be on the shirt. So no problem. I go, "There it is. That's how much it is. You're on the shirt." He went, "All right, I'll do that." And he says, "Oh, I won't mind some tickets though to every game." All right, there you go. Put that in. And then I got my first partnership deal, and he went, "Oh, by the way, I've got another guy that's really interested about being on the shirt." Went, "All right, cool." So he passed that, and suddenly, within that 8-month period, I just suddenly got 2 shirt sponsors at the end of the year. I got a bit of a buzz out of it as well. I'm like, do you know what? That's all right. So I picked up a couple of sponsors, a Cardiff-based company, MSC, Nikki Edmonds.
I know Nikki well.
Yeah, she has been class with me. Because she's one of those people that right at the beginning, when I was just trying to find my feet, came in and went, "No problem, we'll be a part of what you're doing." And
she's good as gold, mate.
Yeah, so I'm very grateful that she came on very early doors with me, a few other sponsors, and then that's just grown and grown. And I've done, I don't mind saying, I've done over 500,000 in revenue for the Giants, and it's become my main role. My 3 years ended, and they just literally put me straight onto normal rules of employment contract as a commercial exec, or whatever you might call it. Still club ambassador, but as a commercial based role. And I absolutely love it. It's great. And I play a bit of golf, and so it's very flexible.
That's absolutely so I work for Capital FM, the same, probably a bit more day to day, just getting the deals done and phones and stuff like that. But like in my job now as an agency, my job is to go meet clients,
Yeah.
find out what their sort of marketing and all that is about, and then look at the revenue essentially and bring in the revenue. So I do exactly the same job as you know, hospitality days, golf days. I normally get every single thing that's going on in South Wales because you know there's a good business network of people here.
Yeah.
And I love it because you just go. Something like, oh, let's go for a coffee. And I'm one of those people like conversations equal cash, not necessarily phone calls, not necessarily emails. Let's go and look in each other's eyes over a beer, a coffee, a golf club, whatever. And that will equal opportunities and cash for either yourself or for other people elsewhere. And I'm one of those people that if I can pay it forward and help you, I'll get mine later down the line at some point.
Yeah.
But that's how I've built my whole network, mate. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, I think that is the key, sort of building a network, and people buy from people. That is just literally how it is. Yeah. And people buy into you as well. And I know that there's a few of these sponsors have spent money on the Giants, not really being bothered about it, just simply because it's me and they want to do it for me.
Absolutely.
And it's just sort of it's just spread every time. I believe in working from within as well. So instead of cold calling, I think that's just a thing of the past. And there is a place for it to a certain degree, but I'd rather be on the back of a recommendation, like you need to get involved in this. And I'll speak to them and say, look, it's not what you think. I speak to different companies. And for instance, I had a meeting at the casino, Grosvenor Casino, and they don't have a clue at how much things had cost. Yeah. And I've gone back to him and said, look, it's not as much as what you think. You get great value. And I promise you, and I'll give you this, I'll bring a load of people down for a network meeting and we'll throw money over the bar. Yeah. You'll instantly get a return on investment. Is it all right? Yeah, sweet. Well, if you do that, I'll look after you and we'll see how it goes. And then we'll think about spending some money with you. And that's how, sometimes you've got to invest early doors and invest in it then and get it later, as you just said.
Yeah.
But COVID, God, again, you've got to be careful what you say, as in the sense that COVID for me has been quite good and been a positive thing for me. Very lucky. Again, I haven't lost too many close people because of COVID. The few people I've ill and been lucky in that sense. But me and my partner, we set up a property investment company as well. While I was on Estate 8, while I was on furlough. So while this is bubbling away doing the Giant stuff and I'm on furlough, we end up setting up this company. I bought a few properties and we've set up a holiday home company as well. So we've got only a couple, well, we've got 4 holiday homes, but they're all mainly being renovated at the moment. One's a sort of mid tenant at the moment, as in they're in there for a mid amount of time. It's an insurance thing, so it's a little bit complicated. And that's in Northumberland. We've got one in Hornsey on the East Coast, which is a beautiful 17th century cottage, which we're renovating. We've got another one in Galker in Huddersfield that we're literally selling next week. Hopefully, we've got to dress. That's what I'm doing after this. I'm putting a load of stuff in a horse trailer. Because we've got a small holding, so we're taking the horse trailer up to this house and starting to dress it. So it's it don't stop me,
I love that. See, like people, they see the 9 till 5, and I would absolutely love to live a 9 till 5, but it doesn't give me what I want from money, life, I'll do work before my job, then I've got my 9 till 5 essentially, which is the new agency I've just joined, but they're good as gold because they focus on sports anyway, so it doesn't feel like work. It's I might ring you one day, go, what's Huddersfield doing about their marketing? Like, is that sort of stuff? And then I've got the podcast, which I'm doing 2-3 hours a night, finding guests, editing, recording, whatever. Like, I love it. And like, they're all different little, I've seen like you did the whiskey barrel tables as well. Like, just little bits keep you busy. They might make a couple of quid, they might not, but it keeps your hand in, you meet new people, and you never know what opportunities will come from later down the line.
Yeah. So I have my own gin through a mate of mine who does gin called Divine Gin is theirs, and mine was number 8 gin. And again, it was a little bit of pocket money. It did all right. Made quite a bit. And then COVID obviously struck. So we didn't end up, you make more money at festivals rather than selling to pubs, because you sell to a pub, they might want 1 bottle, but it's on a shelf of 20 bottles. So that takes ages. You got a festival or something like that, then you sell loads at the same time. So we did that, loved it. And they started, making whiskey barrel lid tables. And that was actually pretty good. I made, again, some decent money off the back of it when I was on furlough, which I kind of needed as well. And I do little things, and I'm I'm not shy about ripping in and doing something different and trying to make a little bit of money off the side of it.
I love it.
I believe in different, again, I believe in a lot of things, but different income streams.
Yeah.
Not relying on one thing. My one thing for the Giants is my 9 to 5 job that pays my mortgage.
Yeah.
But I'm ambitious. I don't just want something to pay my mortgage. I want my holidays. I want to get a good car. And I won't lie to you, at the moment, I'm driving around in a clapped out Mini. It's my missus's Mini. Power steering. Oh, you'd be surprised. There's a technique to it. I've nailed it. You have to like a little bit of a shimmer getting into it. But it's falling to pieces. It's ready. It's MOT till March. Yeah. I doubt it'll be MOT'd again. There's a few little issues on it, and it'll cost more basically to get it fixed. But I've sold everything. I've sold everything, as in I've invested it all, and it'll come back to me eventually. But at the moment, I am very cash poor. I don't mind saying that. I don't have money in the bank because I don't want money in the bank. It's a waste of money. Yeah, I do other bits. I've got a nice portfolio as a pension. I invest in that. I even do a little bit of cryptocurrency. I've invested in that.
I've never got into it yet.
Right. So I'll tell you what. Anyone that's watching that does it will know how bad it's been over the last few weeks. Yeah, you've seen Bitcoin go from like 69 down to 20 odd grand. Luckily, I'm not in Bitcoin. I'm in other ones, but they sort of go with each other off the back of it. So the last few weeks, it's just plummeted again. But that's the beauty of it as well. It is turbulent. It's up, it's down, but it's quick. Yeah. So I'm what you call like I hold basically. So I'll just let it go up and down, but it's good fun. It's just something there sat on the side, not much in there at all, but it's something else. I just think, do you know what? Let's have a crack at it. And then the next year, you never know exactly. Got to be in it to win it.
Oh, mate, I love your attitude, mate. I love your outlook on life because I think I'm quite similar in like the way I look at things. Like, let's just have a crack and see. And like, I do something on the side as well called Secret Sundays, which is me and one of my friends. And it's like Sunday brunches, but instead of it being 90 minutes Prosecco, it's like 2 hours, pretty much an open bar. And there's DJ sax, drum sets. We had singers. It was berserk, like full of women, full of like couples and all that, like real good crack, you know. And it's cost me, between us, it's cost us about $4,000 so far for between the two of us, which I can't afford to keep doing that. But we broke even on the last one, and that was our third event. Yeah. So if I'm having a bit of a break now, just while I start a new job and stuff. But if we set that back up in March, April, and we do 6 or 7 across the summer, you'd like to think I'd have made that money back and more the way it was growing. Yeah. Or I could just sit in the house and fucking play PlayStation for another hour.
That's it. Yeah. You don't know unless you try, do you? And
exactly. I'd rather try and fail, which I think we live in a culture where Instagram is all the highlight reel. Yeah, we're afraid to show failure. Yeah. I put on when I lost my job a day before Christmas Eve, right? When the company I worked for went through, and I put on LinkedIn like, this has happened. I've tried to make it work and it hasn't. So now I'm in the market for a job. And I had a couple of people be like, you know, what, are you okay? Like you a bit negative. I'm like, no, mate. I'm showing real life failures because then when real life success comes, people can see the journey. Yeah. Like, I'm not afraid to show that, but I think we live in a culture now where it's highlights only. Look at the money, look at the car, look at this and that. And I'm like, well, it's not real. Yeah.
We live filtered lives, don't we?
Yeah, exactly.
Filter everything. Profile pictures, they're not real, are they? They're just people's filters on the back of it. There's a couple of I've got a couple of like little sayings I like and little sort of quotes and from different people. And it's probably again over the last few years I picked up, and there's one of them I like, and it is swearing as well. I'm not actually I don't swear that much, to be fair. I try not to because I've done after dinner speaking, and I've got my own script and things like that. And I tried, and I failed miserably. I just absolutely bombed. And it was at a rugby event, and I tried to just sort of swear a little bit more and just be a bit more of a lad. Yeah. Isn't really me. I'm one of the nicest, kindest, like down-to-earth guys in the years. Yeah. And I got told by a mate of mine who does stand-up comedy and he's one of the best on the circuit, Pete Emmett, as a host. He's absolutely brilliant. He said, just be yourself. Just, be yourself. Don't try and be anything different. And people like you for you. It is what it is. And if you try and be different, people see through it. It's that filter. People see straight through it because they're not stupid. But when you're playing rugby and rugby union being the exact same, rugby league, after the 5th tackle, they kick down to the corner.
Yeah.
It's like the winger gets it. He gets tackled 2 meters out off his own line. So you've all got to get back on side. Now, the next 2 carries off the back of that are the toughest carries there is in sport. I'm telling you. And you've got all these absolute massive blokes all
lining up for you,
barred up, just ready to rip your face off. They want blood. They sense blood. They want you. So they compress the line. So they're defending shoulder to shoulder, and you're getting nailed. Whoever's taking this ball off the line, it's just full out off the line, boom. And you've got to get as far as you can. You're trying to get an extra inch further off your own line, just to give the next guy a bit of a break. So when you get back, that you've got to have a mentality about you. So you can either go back and be crapping yourself and you're looking up at the line and you end up dropping the ball and you cost your team points or an extra set of 6, or you can think, fuck it. And that is that mentality you have to have where, give me the ball, okay, let's just go for it. And you do. So I very much think you have to have that mentality sometimes in life. And I was talking to a few business guys, Sajjad Pervez and Seb Pervez, a couple of guys from Huddersfield that are very much into property. And I just stood with them. And I was asking about the next projects. And he says, we've got this big sort of mill that we're converting. And he goes, you know what? Sometimes you just have to just go for it, because you can't. The more you just procrastinate and just talk about things happening, the less likely you are of doing it. And I kind of picked that up. And then another program that I watch, Gold Rush. I don't know if you've ever seen Gold Rush.
No, I haven't.
It's brilliant on Discovery. It's just a documentary series about these gold miners. But there's a guy on there called Tony Beats.
I know what you mean, actually. Yeah, I've seen it advertised.
It's really good. You see, like, the development of these different miners and the progression over years. There's one guy, Tony Beats, Norwegian Viking, and his favorite line is "Make it happen," and I just absolutely love that. So he's very much just don't piss about, just make it happen, no matter what. Make it happen. So instead of procrastinating again and talking about the ways we could do it, it didn't matter. Just rip it down, just make it happen and do it now. And it's something I'm thinking, right, I've got to make things happen because they don't happen by themselves. And for someone who's laid back like myself, it doesn't come natural. So I have to kick myself up the backside and make it happen. So just a few things that I think have helped me along the way. And,
mate, class. And the thing is, right, they're not things where you see, like, some over-the-top American salesperson trying to teach you something or whatever. They're just life lessons you can take into anything. Like, it doesn't matter what profession you are, how old you are. Obviously, you might taper the language a bit, but it doesn't matter who you are. If just go and do it. Like, and if you can't, what's the reason? What's stopping you from doing it? Fix that, then do it. Now, that might not be as easy as me saying it. I'm fully aware of that, right? But then what is stopping you? Ask for help. What's the barriers around it? Let's go and do it. And then there is a difference between the people who, I'm one of those people where if A is the problem today, B is the journey, and C is the solution, what's the fastest way from A to C?
Yeah.
Where some people just want to stay in A and whinge about the world.
Yeah.
And I can't be like that. Like, if I have a down day, like week before Christmas, I lost my job on the Wednesday, COVID on the Thursday, car went in the garage Thursday, right? COVID, couldn't have my daughter for Christmas. Car went in the garage, 3,700 quid, right? Mate, I didn't get down. I had Christmas day off. And then Christmas Eve, I was helping a load of my colleagues get into other jobs and introducing them to other people. Boxing Day, I was back at it. For 3 weeks, every day, 8:30 in the morning, I had a call or meeting, or 9 o'clock at the latest, with someone else. Now, this isn't to say, oh, look at me, amazing. But for me, I had to get up, have a shower, get out of bed, and have something on at 9 a.m. Or I'm one of those people that could easily fall into a routine of stay in bed all morning, don't know when you last showered, like you fall into that depressive state. And I can really hit that quite hard. And so I would, like, last week was my last week out of work. I had 11 meetings. with various people about various things, right? And some of them weren't for me; they were for the other person. They'd had bad news or whatever. But I was out of the house. I felt productive. I got stuff done. Lo and behold, I get offered a job. I might have another sponsor or two for the podcast. Blah blah blah. Like it's like you said, the harder you work, the luckier you become.
Yeah. No,
I'm a bit like you, mate. I think.
I love that mentality, and again, I can't talk about it in the sense I'm not always the most positive, as in this sense that I have shit days like everybody else, mate.
Yeah,
and I do sometimes. I wake up in the morning, I don't want to get out of bed, but what I do find is the more I do it, the better I eat, the better I drink. As in, if I do these good things and I put them back to back to back, it becomes easier.
Yeah.
And it was the same in my rugby career. And it became almost like momentum. When we're winning games, it becomes easier.
Yeah.
When you're losing games in rugby, people say, it's because you're not working hard enough. I can tell you, I've played in lots of games where I've worked my utter knackers off, mate, and I've lost. And in winning games, it's been a piece of piss. And I've just floated through it, but absolutely killed it. And that's how life goes. Doesn't matter. Sometimes you work hard, you won't get your rewards. It's just that's what happens. You've just got to keep doing it and not let it break you and get you down. And you work hard enough for long enough, you will get those rewards. But it's not simple. It's not like we're saying it's not easy.
No,
it won't be easy, and you will be challenged.
Yeah,
that's life. That is, you accept the challenge, take it on.
Absolutely. And I love it when people go, "Oh, you didn't work hard enough. We'll work harder in training on Tuesday night." I'm like, you can't flog a fucking dead horse, mate. It's not working harder. Let's try and work smarter or differently or whatever that is. And like, you ask anyone who knows me well, and I've been quite honest on this at times, not very often, because it's not about me, but like I pissed away loads in my 20s. It was only in the last, I'm 36 now. It's only in the last few years, just before COVID hit, and even like when COVID hit, I've really turned things around in terms of mindset and starting the podcast and going after things and opening doors for other people, and in turn then opening doors for myself.
Yeah.
For 10 years of my professional career, mate, you ask people who knew me, I reckon 7 or 8 of them, people would go absolute menace on the piss, fucking always took it too far, didn't know how to calm it down, but could open doors still.
Yeah.
And it took a few things to happen in my life, which again I won't go into now, but when it starts to potentially affect your loved ones or your kids or whatever it is, that's when I went, fuck, right, now's the time to, you're not getting any younger, you're late 20s, like early 30s, stop being a fucking dick. Like, no dickheads, like less, because ask for help, which is my biggest thing, was I wasn't asking for help and I was drowning. Asked for help, they helped. And, I look back at it now and I'm glad I went through it, because it wasn't easy, but it sets me up now, and hopefully it'll set my daughter up. And then my missus, when she has a bad day, I suppose I'm able to go, well, I can empathize with that. I can understand that. Like, how do we fix it? But I have bad days like you, mate. Like, fuck me. People do my head in. People are dickheads, mate.
Yeah. Have you been watching, have you watched Afterlife?
Oh, yeah. Watch it. I am him.
Yeah, him. His use of the word cunt is unbelievable. Is almost like poetry. The way he does it is just, and I love how it's done and how he delivers it every single time. And you can relate to it. And even my missus will say to me, she goes, "You'd do that." And I'm like, do you know what, if I thought I could get away with it, I probably would.
Yeah.
Because I think of people like that sometimes, especially where they are being ignorant or, going through past the zebra crossing or something when there's people there. He like throws cactus fruit back. Yeah. And the one that got me the other day is when he's got his dad's ashes, they sprinkle on the floor, and he throws it in the guy's face who's told him, "Get out." "Oh, it's in my mouth." He goes, "Yeah, I hope it's his cock, you." And it broke me. I just started laughing my head off. I thought, absolute quality. But there's nothing wrong with it. I love that. You've got to get rid of it. As in that aggression, you've got to talk about being open, and blokes being open, especially with all this mental health. There's so much talked about that. It's more socially accepted. As before, it wasn't. It's not something we ever spoke about in rugby league anyway. Not when I played Super League. Not right at the beginning anyway. But we talk about these things, and it's quite good as Afterlife because it tells you different. It gives you sort of different stories and ways of living life. And his is like that aggression and getting out of the system. But for blokes, you do need to get these things out of your system because it just builds up. And if you keep it inside, all it's going to do is make you ill, make you poor, and that'll affect the people around you. And I'm not saying going out and calling everyone a cunt, like, but there's ways of dealing with it. And for me, it's probably exercise. That's the biggest one for me. I love golf, play a lot of golf. I don't drink that much these days because it does nothing for me. I mean, I enjoy it, and don't get me wrong, but, you know, I've been out with the lads, as in I've been a lad. But now things is I just like a quiet sort of drink and a steady drink. Big nights are gone for me, but I love just getting out with the lads in different ways, whether it be I'll go to watch rugby or play golf is my big one, getting out there and just having the banter, taking the piss out of each other. That's how I get it out of my system, because I've got nowhere to go now. I don't play rugby. I can't get it out of there.
You ever done anything like boxing? Like when I finished playing rugby, I started boxing. I had a few like white collar fights and stuff like that. Like, you ever done anything like that?
No, and I don't intend to. No, because I'm not a freaking idiot.
I loved it. No, addictive, but I loved it because the discipline you get. Unfortunately, I suppose the gyms I was in, there's a couple of matchroom boxers and like a couple of Olympians and stuff like that. So like the quality was unbelievable. And whilst I'm not amazing at it, I'm one of those people that can pick things up. So I loved it, and that was my outlet to begin with when I finished playing. And I think that's why I found it easier to. I don't miss rugby in the fucking slightest now. Could not think of anything worse than going training on Tuesday nights with 6 people in the pissing rain. Nah, like not a chance. But I done both my biceps, and I do miss boxing now. Like I'd love to really get back into it, but my body I've never looked after it, so it's failing me now.
Yeah, there's a few issues that I've picked up. I've had 4 ops on my elbow. I've got arthritis in my left elbow. It's a couple of nasty ones. So that's the only bad real injury that I've had. That's straightening it clicks. I can't actually straighten it properly, to be fair. And then my nose, I've had 4 ops on that because I've had it literally smashed across my face. First one was Stuart Fielding in a friendly. I didn't even get a penalty for it. I couldn't believe it. Just forearm straight across my face. Boom, nose gone, other side. Doctors twisting it back around. Those little things you don't think about when you become a professional rugby league player. Oh yeah, the doctor's going to be bending my nose around at some point. So, but that legitimately happened. So I had pins in my nose and everything. So I knew I wasn't ever going to be a boxer. Where we did some sparring. And we did it in training, pre-season training, did it all the time, to be fair. And I've got a long, I've got a big reach.
Big reach on you,
So jabs, that's me, jabbing all day, just keep people at bay. But I went in with this professional boxer, and he was coaching us. And I started throwing out a bit of a jab, a bit smaller than me. And I caught him on end at nose. And just a tiny little nick. He didn't do anything about it. So jabbing away again, and I catch him. End at nose again, just tiny bit. And by the time I got my hands back to there, he smashed me straight in face. Like, boom. I didn't know what had happened. I was like, what the? I didn't even see it coming. It's like someone's hit me front side. So, all right. So going again. And I catch him again, just a little one. Boom. Straight around my face. He goes, right, are we going to stop that now? Oh, yeah, mate. Well, yeah, we'll stop. I went to body punches, and it was that moment that I realised, I'm never going to be a boxer.
I sparred a boy before, right? And I was in between fights, so I was like, the camp. This isn't a camp. Like, it's not like a boxing camp, like a actual boxer will do. But you're training like most days, and you're getting better and stuff. And there's one of the lads, small, I don't know, 70 kilos maybe, right? And I'm like 120, 115 at the time. Don't see it coming, whap, straight up under the ribs, up there. And you're like, ooh. And then you just take the knee. I'm done. Like, see you later, pal. Like, fucking get off me. Like, hanging.
Yeah, I'm more of a wrestler, me, mate. Anyway, I'm a wrestler. I used to do judo when I was younger. I was a Yorkshire champion, so county champion. But I fancy jiu-jitsu, so Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
My mate does it, and he just won the English Open, and he's only started about a year ago. But I played rugby with him, the same size as me. But he was naturally just a really good wrestler. I'd get more into that. My late uncle was Big Daddy, the famous British wrestler, an absolute idol to people and an icon to millions of people. So I've got that sort of pedigree, that sort of history. So boxing, no, but something like that, yeah, I'd love to get involved in. I do like that close contact, like throwing people over, and that's my game, and that's what I was always good at when I played rugby as well, getting in tight and not letting go of people. Yeah, just use that weight to crush them into the ground.
I was saying you got long levers as well, so it's harder to fucking break out of it. Like there is something about like contact sports like that. So like I've never done jiu-jitsu or wrestling or anything, but like in boxing, when your lungs are empty and you're on the floor and you're like, there is something liberating about that feeling where you can just go, I'm not fucking quitting today. And once it's done, you can lose. It doesn't matter if you win or lose, but at the end you just go, fucking glad I've done that.
Yeah, no, I get that. Yeah. And I suppose the flip side of that is just if you do give in, you can't, it's one of those that I just get knocked out, just knock me out. That's the only way you're getting rid of me. Some people have that mentality, and I know I do. There's no way I'd give in, just couldn't do it. You just have to knock me out. And they probably would do, to be fair. I've had that many concussions, knocks to the head already. I probably forget about it quite quickly.
Mate, look, we've been in now just over an hour. Like we've hardly touched on anything rugby. I'd love to, because I know you're busy. I've got to shoot off in a bit as well. Yep. I'd love to get you back on at some point because I've absolutely fucking loved that. Legend of the game, and we've hardly spoken about it. I've got all the nausea. Like I'm not a nose in the slightest. Like I've much preferred this, but I would love to, chat about the career at some point.
Yep.
People you've played with, people you get played against, funny stories, all that sort of stuff, mate. So if you don't mind, it's not next week, whatever, like at some point in the future, I'd fucking love to have you back on. And
not a problem. Genuinely, I've absolutely loved it. It's been really enjoyable, quite relaxed, and I suppose there's different sides to being a sportsman, isn't there? And professional sports, it isn't just about the career. It's I guess it's about the person as well. And I'm not stereotypical, me neither, as in I don't fit into a stereotype of a rugby league player in the slightest. And sometimes probably we'll go into it a little bit more in another episode, but I struggle being around certain players because I didn't fit that mold.
Yeah.
And, for me, it was, I felt like an outcast quite a lot of the times, not within my own team. And maybe that's why I never left, is because I loved being at Huddersfield in my own club. And I felt like I was not so much important there, but I felt like that was I belonged there.
Yeah.
And to move on was always, I was skeptical because I knew players at those clubs and the type of people they were.
Yeah.
And I just didn't want to be a part of that. And that's why I don't regret ever moving. I was very happy to do what I did. But again, we'll talk about that, I guess, in the future.
Mate, absolutely. It's like, don't have to go into it now, but did you find that when you were like going with England, for example, and stuff like that? Or
yes, hated it. No, I don't mind saying it. Some lads I loved, and do you know what? I didn't dislike them. There's a lot, but I just didn't feel a part of them. I felt like a massive outcast. I think coaches didn't help that in the slightest, and they were very cliquey. But they weren't bad lads. Don't get me wrong. It's not like I didn't like them or I fell out with them. I just knew I didn't fit in.
Yeah,
and I found that very difficult. And if you ever speak to Jermaine McGilvray, he'd probably tell you when we had England first team and then we had England A team, and he came into the room, my eyes lit up because I love him to bits and he's one of my boys. And he knew I wanted to be with him, and I'd have been with them lads because I fitted in with them a little bit more, being a little bit younger. And so I found it very difficult. I felt like I felt very lonely at times as well within it. Don't get me wrong, there's some great lads and I had some great times. I roomed like James Graham for a bit. Gaz Ock, who was an absolute character, Rangy Chase, I roomed with him as well. And,
I loved when he came on here, mate, and he was so open and honest about not his fall from grace, because that's probably a bit disrespectful, but obviously at the top of the game, went through what he went through, and then he was playing in South Wales in like Division 1 or National 1. Like, he was so open and honest about it. We had a beer and Did it in person. We did that one in person.
Yeah.
And it's fascinating, mate, like how you, because I grew up watching people like you and him going, fuck, like they're the elite level for me. Like they're the elite operators. Now I'm sat in a room with them going, listening to the story, like, fuck, you just don't see that side of things.
Nah, Rangi was something special as well, mate, but loose as anything. And that was one of his issues, but it probably comes down to mental health, and he had some personal problems. Yeah. And he was open with me when I roomed with him. He was bloody lovely. Honestly, I got on with him really well. And maybe that's why I am sort of a little bit different, is I could get on with anyone. I probably didn't fit in with everyone, because they're slightly different. And there's only probably 2 rugby players that I really hang around with that are ex-players. Everyone else, although I respect them and had some great times and memories, they didn't stay as my close group of mates. Yeah. All my mates are from my local estate. You know, they're all, my brother's a plumber. My best mate, one of my best mates, sorry, he makes cardboard boxes. He's got his own business doing cardboard boxes. He's on the shirt this year. Do you know what I mean? It's really random, but it's a bloody big business, especially in the last 18 months.
There was a shortage of cardboard, wasn't there?
There is. Yeah. His spirit calls it brown gold, though. Brown gold. Yeah, there's some money in cardboard, I can tell you.
I do some work. There's a company called down here, like a brewery called Tiny Rebel, and they make all different like IPAs and all that stuff. Yeah. You could give me a couple of beers every episode, right? And I went and seen him like last year when we were allowed to, and he was like, "Mate, we cannot get cardboard for fucking love nor money." Amazon bought it all.
Yeah, my mate's got a brewery as well. They call it Lord's Brewery in Huddersfield, and it's because they call it Lord's because they are religious and they go to church every weekend. And when he's had a couple of beers, he starts preaching at you. I'm like, mate, I'm not interested. It's not my bag. He ends up apologizing. He's like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm like, there's conflict here, mate. Like, you're a brewery. I don't know. There's something doesn't seem right about it. I don't know enough about religion to sort of know exactly what the issue is here. And he goes, no, don't be daft. Don't be daft. Of course not. But I think he was struggling as well. But I think these are people I've become friends with after I finished. I've created my own team, if you know what I mean. I've not been around the lads every single day, and it's a strange way of looking at it, but I've created my own off the field sort of rugby team within all these different businesses where I can go down, have a bit of banter, and I tend to align myself with people I get on with who have similar interests or are motivated, and I can learn off them and things like that. So that's
how you grow. Like I don't necessarily come from a real bad upbringing, but the area could be quite rough in areas, and I got myself out of it. I would come to Cardiff, and even over the last few years, I've changed who I'm hanging around with day to day. And they're now more business owners and people who are respected in the business community. They're all still mid-30s, early 40s. I'm not hanging around with 80-year-old guys who think they know it all, but we all got the same values now and like interests and help each other out and stuff. And it's just a far better way of life rather than weekend warrior, chasing the weekend, chasing the buzz, chasing girls, whatever it was. Like, I suppose just grown out of it a bit, but I think we're quite similar in a lot of things there, pal. Like, I've absolutely fucking loved this, honestly.
Good. No, cheers, mate. I have as well. Let's do it again. There's probably a 3rd episode as well at this rate.
Oh, class. Mate, if we get that far, I'll come up to Huddersfield, all right?
Mate, you're more than welcome anytime. Get yourself up. And if you are up north, then you're more than welcome to taking a Giants game and look after you, and it'd be good to catch up properly.
Get around on the course as well, all right?
Oh, mate, there's plenty of courses around here, mate. Not a problem at all. We can make that happen.
Class. I love it. Hey, look, I'll be in touch. Look after yourself. Best of luck with everything for the future. I'll drop you a message and we'll catch up again in a few weeks or whatever, all right?
Absolute pleasure. Thank you. And you too as well. Take care of yourself. And
cheers, Earl.
Look forward to chatting again.
Top man, you're a fucking ledge. Cheers, bye.
Cheers, buddy.
Ta-ra.